All right, so in our last explainer, we really dug into Chapter 9 and this idea of direct knowledge. And we saw it's not about belief, right? It's about clear, undistorted seeing. But then, right on the heels of that, Christian introduces a word that, let's be honest, can be a major roadblock for a lot of us today: devotion.
And that just throws up a red flag, doesn't it? You might be thinking, wait a minute. After all that talk about verifiable knowledge, are we suddenly being asked to just have blind faith? To just surrender emotionally and switch off our brains? It's a real tension. But what's so powerful is that Chapter 9 tackles this head-on. It shows us that the devotion Krishna is talking about isn't belief without understanding. No, it's the alignment that naturally follows it.
So before we can even get to the Gita's definition, we have to explore why this word is so loaded for us. The text seems to anticipate this, so let's first get clear on the baggage we all bring to the table when we hear the word devotion.
For a lot of people, devotion just sounds like emotional dependence. You know, this idea that you're leaning on some outside force because you feel incomplete or needy. And for a modern, independent person, that can just feel, well, weak.
And then there's the big one, the idea that devotion means you just stop asking questions. You just accept things. You're told what to believe and you believe it. No critical thought required. And that, of course, runs completely counter to the entire spirit of the Gita.
And finally, it gets all tangled up with this idea of just mechanical ritual. You know, just going through the motions, performing ceremonies and actions without any real clarity or understanding of why you're even doing them in the first place.
So when you put all that together, our modern misconception of devotion is often this mix of worship that's really driven by fear, obedience to some outside authority, and faith that requires zero investigation. And you know what? That kind of devotion is fragile. It collapses under the slightest pressure. The Gita sees this coming a mile away and offers something that is the complete opposite.
Okay, so let's get to the heart of it. What is the Gita's radical, game-changing definition of devotion? Well, it shifts the entire focus. It's not about what you feel, it's about how you function.
And here it is. This is so precise and powerful. In the Gita's context, devotion is simply the consistent alignment of your attention, your intention, and your actions with what you have come to see as true. It's not a feeling, it's a direction. It's where you point your life.
That's it. It's not about having some big, emotional, ecstatic experience. It's about this. Once direct knowledge shows you what's real and what's not, what frees you and what binds you, your mind just naturally orients itself towards reality. That steady orientation is devotion.
And this is the absolute key. No belief is required for this to happen. It's just a natural consequence of seeing clearly. It's like, you don't need to believe in a doorway to walk through it. Once you see it's there, you just align your action with that reality and walk through.
And this brings us to a really crucial point about the Gita's structure. The sequence here is everything. Krishna is so deliberate about the order. He doesn't start with devotion, he builds up to it. The progression is just crystal clear. Step 1, do the hard work to clarify reality. See things as they actually are. Step 2, in that process, you naturally start to shed all your old misunderstandings. And only then, step 3, this alignment, this devotion, just happens. It happens on its own. It's a result, not a prerequisite. And this really shows you what's at stake. If you try to force devotion before you have any real clarity, it just turns into superstition. It's flimsy, it's based on ideas, not reality. But when devotion comes after understanding, it becomes this source of profound stability because it's grounded in what is real and true.
Let's make this super simple with an analogy. Think about the fundamental laws of nature. Through your own direct experience, you see clearly that fire burns. You see that gravity pulls things down. So let me ask you, do you believe in gravity? Do you have faith that fire is hot? The question sounds kind of silly, right? Belief doesn't even enter the picture when something is a directly observable fact of your world.
Exactly. You just align with it. You don't try to put your hand in a flame. You don't try to walk off a roof. You intelligently and automatically align your actions with that reality. This, the Gita is telling us, is exactly how true devotion works. It's a practical, intelligent alignment with the nature of reality itself. So, let's bring this into our day-to-day lives. How does this principle of alignment actually apply to our actions, especially our work?
Krishna uses this phrase a lot, right? Offer your actions. And it's so easy to hear that and think it's some kind of religious ritual, like you're supposed to say a prayer before you start a project. But that's not it at all. It's actually a profound psychological instruction.
To offer your actions really just means to release your personal, egoic ownership over the results. It means you stop using your work, your successes, and your failures as a tool to build up your identity. You start to see yourself as just one part of a much larger cosmic order doing your part. So it's about ego release, not worship. And to be clear, the effort doesn't stop. The hard work, the commitment to excellence, that all continues. The only thing that drops away is that heavy, anxious voice of the ego that claims, this outcome, this success or failure, this defines me. Releasing that claim, that is devotion in action.
So let's bring this all home. What does this kind of devotion actually look like for a modern, thinking person, a professional, a skeptic, living their life today? Well, you don't need a surge of religious emotion. What you need is clarity and consistency.
For us, devotion looks like a steady commitment to truth, even when it's uncomfortable. It looks like integrity, doing the right thing when nobody's watching. It's being able to act with purpose without needing that constant ego boost of praise. And it's a genuine humility that comes from seeing your place in the grand scheme of things, which doesn't mean erasing yourself, but seeing yourself accurately.
So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. The Gita's version of devotion is not about losing yourself in some kind of emotional high. It is the profound relief of no longer fighting with reality. It's the end of that constant, exhausting battle with the way things are.
So in the end, Chapter 9 gives us this incredibly complete picture. The knowledge is direct, something you can verify for yourself. And the devotion it talks about isn't some blind faith you have to force. It's a natural, stable alignment that comes from that understanding. No emotional crutches, no abandoning your reason, just alignment with truth. And that leaves us with a really powerful question to sit with. What area of your life, right now, could be totally transformed if you shifted your approach from a fragile belief to a powerful and steady alignment?